What is dopamine? Dopamine is known as a happiness chemical molecule that is released in your brain when you do certain habits or do certain things. When you take an action or do a certain behavior, the chemical dopamine will then be released in your brain, which then makes you kind of feel good, feel happy. It's related to your motivation when you do stuff. It's a cycle, or it's a reward system for when you take an action, you get a dose of dopamine, and then, you know, it's kind of like it's just a cycle like that. So in the video I described what dopamine is, what kind of habits will impact your dopamine negatively, and what kind of habits will positively impact it and not fry your receptors. So yeah, enjoy the video. So compared to the habits that you do now, like masturbation, porn, video games, junk food, certain habits where you instantly get a dose of dopamine, you instantly get a dose of happiness, but then it kind of, after you finish or after you do it, you kind of get a crash of less motivation, of less happiness, so you don't feel as good as you did a couple of minutes ago or half an hour ago or whatever, and you feel bad about yourself. So let's say you eat some junk food, and in the moment while you're eating it, you feel good, you're happy. That's the dose of dopamine that the junk food, the chemical, will be released in your brain. Then afterwards you feel like shit, you feel lethargic, you feel a little bit more chubbier, you feel a little bit more brain fog comes to your brain, and you feel a bit slower when you're thinking, and these are things that can impact you negatively. So with all those certain instant gratification habits, in the moment you feel good, and afterwards you feel shit. Basically a good way to explain it. These bad habits that I've just described, there's other ones too, but these certain habits over time could be frying your dopamine receptors in your brain. And as they fry your receptors, it then makes it difficult for you to be happier with the simple things in your life, for you to be grateful and feel that happiness chemical with just minimal things. So you need more dopamine, which means that you need to play more video games, you need to have more junk food, you need to have more of that substance, or take more of that action than you were before, because you're constantly chasing more dopamine, more happiness, and all that sort of stuff. This could also cause your anxiety to flare up, or your depression to come back, or whatever. And if you would just change these certain habits to a different kind of habit, which I will now explain if you just hang in there with me. There are two different types of habits. There is delayed gratification habits and instant gratification habits. And when it comes to instant gratification, as I explained earlier in the video, those are the habits where you instantly feel good, but then afterwards you feel shit. In a simple way to explain it. When you do delayed gratification habits, like let's say you go for a jog, you go for a run. During the run, you're not going to feel amazing. You're not going to feel good. But afterwards, after you finish the run, after you complete the challenge, you then feel better about yourself. You feel more happier, you feel all around better, more fulfilled. When you go for a run, when you train your body and you push your muscles to the limit, when you read a book, when you meditate and breathe for a couple of minutes. These are certain things where they're boring, they're hard to do in the moment, they're kind of a good challenge for your brain and body, but then afterwards you get the dopamine. So you still get dopamine from any of these habits. When you better yourself and improve yourself when it comes to reading, meditating, journaling, going for a run, lifting weights, doing a fighting sport, whatever. Some of them can be fun for some people, but for a lot of people, these things aren't fun. These things aren't normalized, which means that they will tend to chase the easy dopamine or the easy happiness when you chase these instant gratification habits. So if you wrote down on a piece of paper, this is an actionable step for you right now. To be able to change the fact that you could be making decisions that are detrimental to your anxiety and your depression and your happiness in your future, I want you to categorize your habits that you do day to day into two categories: delayed gratification and instant gratification. And a simpler way to put it, what things are you doing in your day-to-day life that are giving you instant happiness, but then you feel a little bit shit about yourself afterwards? You put it in that category, and you put it in the other category, what are things that you know you want to be doing in the long run, you know are good for you, and you want to implement more. Then you put them in that category, like the training your body, like reading a book, like meditating, like, I don't know, being nice to people. Sometimes that's hard for people in the beginning, you know, being nice to someone, and then afterwards you feel good because, I don't know, you know, whatever that is, whatever these habits are for you, categorize those into delayed gratification habits, and then what you need to do is not instantly be able to swap everything and change everything in a 360. I don't expect you to be able to change and swap everything right away, but over a long period of time, I want you to slowly pair the delayed gratification habit with the instant gratification habit. I don't know how you want to do it. If you want to be able to be like, okay, to earn this instant gratification that I know I'll do, that I know is in the long run bad for me, then I'm gonna have to do this delayed gratification habit first. And now it could kind of the other habit out where there actually is no point, but it's a kind of thing where over time I want you to slowly implement those types of habits instead of implementing the instant gratifying habits in your lifetime. If you were to implement these habits consistently throughout maybe the next 2 years of your life, then you will feel more fulfilled, you will feel happier, real happiness, the true happiness that you'll feel better about your body, you'll feel good about your mental health, you'll feel good about your social relationships, you'll feel better about your goals, whatever that is. This is the way to make it happen. Like literally, there is science-based evidence to say that when you do certain things and take certain actions, there is a chemical called dopamine, which is tied to your happiness and motivation. And when this is released, this motivates you to either do that thing again after a bit, or just makes you feel good. And obviously your brain and your body is going to want that to happen again. So you're going to try and do that thing again, and you're going to try and do that thing again. But I want you to understand is if you're aware of that, and if you're aware that there is a such thing as dopamine in your brain, then be aware of that and implement that in other ways. You don't get the instant gratifying thing right away. You don't get the instant happiness right away, but what will happen is that over time you will feel more fulfilled, and you just got to be patient with it.